All right. We're going to give a quick little rundown on your chapter or your Unit 6 student taught chapter assignment that you can see here on your Google Classroom. If you open up this module, you'll see that I've given a description of basically what you're supposed to be doing with your individual chapter. Your assignment is to do the things a teacher would do to teach any given chapter. And so you're going to introduce, prepare and deliver the content. You're going to give assignments, and you're going to give assessments. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and walk through the process because this first document that you see loaded on here, the NEO student taught unit, you can kind of see it right up here on this tab. And you can look through all of these things. And I'm going to just go ahead and walk you through because this is the main assignment right here. You are going to be filling in these things with exactly what your lesson plan is, since you are the teacher for this chapter. So let's go block by block to make sure you know what you're putting in there. So under content area or course grade, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting in as if you were the high school teacher. So for you to do this adequately, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to File, and we're going to go to Make a Copy, and we're going to name this. Let's say, for instance, my name was Joe Biden Trump. All right. And then the chapter I am teaching would be chapter 38. And then I would put in the Stormy 60s as the title of my chapter. And so that's the name of my document now. I've created this thing. And so the very first thing that I am going to be doing here is I'm going to fill in this block. So content area or course grade, I would put in that this is, let's see, area, U.S. history. America. And then this will be the unit. You're going to go to your textbook and figure out what the name of the Unit 6 is in your textbook. On the lesson topic, you're going to go and you fill out, the title of the lesson in your textbook. So if you are chapter 38, and then you would fill that in, Stormy 60s. You would put the date, which in this case would be, the date would be December 2020. And then the name of the teachers. So if you are partnered up with somebody, you'd put both names. And if you are working as an individual, you'd use just your name. So I am Joe Biden Trump, because I feel like those guys work really well together on this project. You know what I'm saying? And so I get to my school, and I would put in, this is Wyandotte High School. And in my summary, I'm going to go ahead and summarize the whole chapter in the briefest way that I can, to talk about what the stormy 60s were like. And so you would talk about political upheaval, social upheaval, you would talk about foreign policy, you would talk about civil rights. So for the 60s, you got a whole lot of things going on right there for that particular period. And of course, by the end of the decade there, we're landing a man on the moon in the same summer that we're having multiple serial killers on the loose. And so that's some crazy stuff going on in the 60s, right? So um, you would go now to your state and national standards taught. What you're going to do for this is you're going to go to the address that I put on that module in there, sde.ok.gov. And it automatically filled in educators page for me. So let me back out of there. So you can see this the way it should be. Should be here. And then you're going to scroll down and you're going to see this educators tab right here, and click on that. From educators, you're going to go down here to OAS, Oklahoma Academic Standards. So click on OAS. And then from OAS down, you're going to find the relevant social studies Click on social studies and it should open up a whole booklet for you. So if I'm getting into the stormy 60s, easiest way for me to do is to go Control F and then type in something that would have happened in the 60s that would have been a major event, like in my case here, Vietnam. All right. So I would scroll down here until I find Vietnam here, and then I would find the relevant standards here. So U.S. History 6.3, analyze the series of events and long-term foreign and domestic consequences of the United States military involvement in Vietnam, including all of these things. That would absolutely be one of the standards I'm talking about. You would, let's see, you'd go down here and you'd also be talking about the civil rights movement. A lot of these things happen. So you would also copy and paste in USH 7.1 into that same block. So I know for sure that I would do this. Come on, get all of that. Go Control C, go back to my module here, and I'm going to type in Control V. And then I'm going to go back there and I'm going to grab 7.1. And I'm going to get all of that information. Control C and Control V. So now I have both 6.3. I'm going to go ahead and bolden that. And then I have 7.1. I'm going to go ahead and bolden that, right? Now, the other thing is it did not do a good job of breaking this thing down. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide up where it goes from A to B. From here, it's also going to have what are you doing that for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then from here, I'm going to get back down to C, space in there. And then I think I'm actually at the end of that. There's a period. And I'm good. All right. Now, so from here, I put a second one in here. I want to get down to my introduction. What I'm going to do for my introduction is I'm going to actually be making a video. Okay. So I'm going to make an intro video, finding some way that you want to do this, whether this is going to be a screencastify that you do, be creative, be fun, make a TikTok. I don't care, whatever you want to do to introduce the chapter, but make an intro video of some sort and be creative with it. And then your content, you're going to put the URL for your Google Slides, for your presentation itself, which would be your, Screencastify or your Edpuzzle or whatever you're going to use. Under procedures, you're going to put in, any of the other things you're going to do. Like, so for example, here I would put in the primary source here. Let me just go ahead and put this stuff in here. And I don't want you to put these exact things because obviously I just want the URLs for the things you're turning in. And so on content here, I would have Google Slides, and I would also have my Screencastify, or if you're doing Edpuzzle, that's where you're going to put that stuff there. And I want the URLs for those things there so that I can see that. You're going to put your primary source assignments in there. And then over here on formative, you're going to, on your formative, this is going to be, so that would be your Quizizz or Quizlet or Kahoot, or whatever else that you're using for your formative assessment for your students. And then for your summative assessment, it's going to be your chapter test. And I have already offered, if you reach out to me and you want to get your the chapter test that I use, you can absolutely do that. Okay. And you're going to be required, though, if you're going to use my chapter test, you have to cover the things in your unit that I cover in my test. So, because if you're going to test something, you have to teach the thing. All right. That's the rule. So we look down through here, and this is essentially your Bible. Okay, did you do your intro video? If so, check. Did you do your presentation? If so, check. Did you do your slides? Check. Did you do your primary source? Check. And then as soon as you have all these things done, you are essentially done with this because you've turned in all those things here into this. Okay, so you're going to replace these things with the URL, right? So let me get to the primary source real quick because that's the one thing I don't think I've really fully explained yet. So my advice for you would be to kind of follow a little bit of this stuff that I put here in your module. So you're back on your Google Classroom here. You see where I'm at on the module. So, like the example I used in class was eyewitnesstohistory.com, and it frequently has a lot of really good things that you can use. So, what you would do here is you would find the ones that would be relevant. So, you're going to click on the 20th century up here. And so from 20th century, I'm going to come down here to the relevant parts. And since I'm teaching the stormy 60s, I think one of the things that I would do is I would probably do Apollo 8, and so I would take the Apollo 8, click on that thing. I would go to the printer friendly version. And then from here, I would copy and paste all of this information. And then hit Control C. I would go right back up into my Google Drive. From my Google Drive, I would create a new Google form. Since this is going to be titled Primary Source Flow 8. There you go. And here on your form description, I'm going to go ahead and put in all my, I'm going to paste all of that stuff that I just now stole from that website. All right. So now all of that information is here. Let me go to here. And then quit. Don't be doing that, Obi. I get down here. And then from here, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to get rid of the thing I accidentally just now created. And I'm going to start asking questions based on the content here. So you need to create a minimum of 5 questions. I prefer they'd be multiple choice. That way it's easier if I choose to use your primary source to assign to the rest of the class. It's way easier to do multiple choice than it is to give essay questions that they've got to write a bunch of sentences on. So then I would take this and easiest way to do this would be to go to the link, shorten the URL, then I would hit copy. And then whenever I'm done with this, again, I'm going to take that URL and I'm going to put it, went to the wrong one, didn't I? Right here under the primary source, colon, and I'll hit Control V to put that thing in there. So now your URL is in there and I can easily click on that and everything like that. All right. So these are the things that I am expecting you to do for this assignment, and all of this is due by December the 4th. So you now have from now until December 4th, you have the entire Thanksgiving break. You have tomorrow's virtual day. You have time to do these things, so make sure you do them and do them well. And once you've turned that in, the lion's share of what's left is done. The only thing you're really going to have left is just the content that I give you from those individual chapters and assign to your individual modules and everything like that. And then you'll have your semester test at the very end. But beyond that, this is the lion's share of what's left. All right. Happy hunting. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.